Welcome to another Platinum Greatwyrm episode of the It's a Mimic podcast, where you never know what you're going to get. Welcome to a special episode of the It's a Mimic podcast, where I, Adam, am sitting down again with Scott, who is one of our Patreon subscribers of Platinum Greatwyrm tier. And that means he's able to sit down and record an episode of his choice with us. And he decided that today we're going to be converting a few stat blocks from Pathfinder 2nd Edition to D&D 5.5. I'm going to be completely upfront. I did a little bit of research on this ahead of time and found out that this is a pain in the ass. And
yay!
Yeah. I also know that there is Abomination Vaults, which is D&D partnered content, which you can get on D&D Beyond. That is all in 5th edition, and there's also the Pathfinder, or like original, that I was just going to start comparing stat blocks against to try to find out if there's an equation there. And I got about, I'm not joking, 3 minutes into it, and I went, I wonder if anyone has done this already. And I looked it up, and A, nobody has, and B, the general consensus is don't even try to do the math. It just is based on vibes alone. So
nice. Well, are you feeling pretty vibed out today?
I am vibing like you would not believe.
Well, then we're going to vibe our way through some stat blocks, I guess.
Before we get into it, though, I got to ask, how's the engagement going? You guys doing a lot of wedding planning?
Yes, but no, but yes, but no. So we have our venue and our date officially booked. So I know when and where I'm getting married, and it's a year away.
Have you done like the guest list and all that shit yet?
We've both kind of like gone through and made our own like lists of who we'd think to invite and everything, but we're still too early to really make anything official.
I sat down with Mieka, and the only fight that we had in the entire wedding process, like the planning process, the only fight that we had, and we kept circling back to it over and over again, was the guest list. And it was just like, we opted to do the biggest, most expensive package at the venue, and with the caterer and all that stuff. So it was like every seat was a couple $100, and I'm sitting there going, do we really need these people here? I would much rather cut 5 people and have $1,000 put towards the honeymoon. And we went back and forth on that over and over and over, with like both of us adding and slashing, and it was wild.
No, we've already, the biggest thing that we're hopefully, because catering's going to rival it, but we're trying to do the venue that we always really wanted, and then, maybe do less on other things. So we're actually looking at, for catering, a gourmet pizza bar.
Oh, that's cool.
Let's be honest. Everyone wants to do the nice little fancy, chicken and lamb meal, and then most of the time it's just kind of aggressively mediocre. And I don't want to pay $100 a head for that.
All right, so I'm going to take a portion of this episode out to tell you a horror story. You mean the horror story of your catering that you already told me this story. Oh, did I tell you?
Yeah, when we were talking, it was during the recap of when I ran this for you guys, and you were like, that time's not going to work for me either.
I'm clearly still traumatized. Like, this is...
I understand, rightfully so, because then when you said, at top of the line catering, the first thought I had, I was thinking interrupt, but my brain said, and that's what you ended up getting?
I was so fucking... I'll tell you this. The catering is a double-edged sword, because you're right. It's never as good as you want it to be, but it is absolutely the thing that everyone is going to talk about. So I've been to one that did like an omelet bar. That was a really cool idea. It sounds like the gourmet pizza idea is fantastic, because if you're going with your like fish, chicken, or lasagna, whatever, right, man, that it's a recipe for someone to complain. But if you just go
literally
everyone will enjoy pizza, just to have the options for all your vegetarians, right?
Exactly. We do want to have a vegetarian option, because I know Joe's maid of honor, her boyfriend is vegetarian. So we at least want to have something for him.
Man, I am so excited for you. I can't wait to see the pictures and everything.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, it's really hard to get the gas going to get it all planned, especially because my younger brother is getting married in about 2 months, and I'm getting married in 11.
Oh, I'm going to tell you right now, in 3 months, sit down with not your brother, who is going to shrug, but like I'm assuming more opinionated partner, because that's how it tends to work, and find out what were all the pain points, what went wrong, tell me what I need to do. Get that
That is
info.
fair.
That's highly useful information.
So, well, and I'm also kind of low key going to use his wedding to scout out which of my family would show up to mine. Because if they won't go 2 hours away for his, they're not going to do 10 for mine.
You know what? That's fair. Have you figured out the music yet? That was another thing that I was completely in the dark for.
Yeah, I hate DJs and I know how to use sound equipment.
Fair enough. One of the things that we like succeeded on was we started to look up ahead of time. Like we knew what we wanted to hear, but then we also looked up like what are the songs that play at weddings, and then we just got rid of the ones that are cheesy and shitty. Like I put my foot down. No chicken dance. Fuck that noise. But like there are some that are just standard, oldies but goodies
Yeah.
that people will be expecting. If you don't play it, they'll be like, oh, that was weird on the drive home. And so,
No, I actually had the idea of part of the RSVP is give people a link to a playlist to add songs to. And then from that playlist of RSVPs is what I actually build the night's playlist for.
good luck with that. I sent that out. Like we asked people as well. We didn't send it as part of the RSVP. We had a select few. What would you like to add? And we got everything from heavy metal to 90s gangster rap to like there was German. No, sorry, it was some sort of European punk folk. Like it was wild. The shit that we
Nice.
got.
But no, Joe, that's Joe's music taste. So he will listen to everything from Women of Country to the Screamo of underground Germany.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, and I already have a mixer and speakers, and I can get new speakers. And by the way, microphones are $150 for that kind of setting. I know this. That's a lot cheaper than a DJ.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So that sounds like you got things well underhand, which is
Yeah,
fantastic. All right,
I mean, as much as you can for now.
let's jump into the reason why people clicked on the episode. So, um, we're going through three plus stat blocks and then a couple of hazards that are all from the Pathfinder adventure that we've been talking about for a couple of episodes, you and I now, which is the Fistful of Flowers, which was the free adventure that they handed out a couple of years ago, right?
That is correct. I always wanted to have my own little series as a Patreon member because everyone else has, and it's turning out that Fistful of Flowers is my series.
Look, we're gonna beat this horse until it is long past dead, until it is resurrected
Exactly.
again.
All right, so we need to hurry up and play a few flowers more so we can go with the sequel.
All right, there we go. So yeah, there were three stat blocks that we're going to go over. And I'm just going to start knocking them out in the order that you said in our Discord conversation. Like, hey, I want to do this one, this one, this one. So we're going to start off with Darius. Can you give us just a little bit of a background for the people listening about like Darius's vibe?
Yeah, so I love role playing this guy. He is the guy that actually kidnaps the lavender leshies that you have to rescue. He is a candle maker by trade, and he just wants to be invited to a nice fancy party, which is why he went and took the job for her. And then she didn't invite him. So I like to play him a little as rough and gruff, but also kind of underneath it all super pathetic because he kidnapped living plants just to get invited to a party and then didn't.
And he's a big, strong guy too. Like
He is about as wide as he is tall.
yeah. And one of the interesting things about him is that he's got like crystalline fingernails as well.
And teeth. That's actually from his mutagen that he consumes right before the start of the fight.
So mutagens are not a thing in regular D&D. Can you walk me through mutagens?
So, you can call them mutagens, potions, whatever. In Pathfinder, it is an alchemical item. You consume it, and it gives you a bonus effect for usually, like, I think 10 minutes. Specifically, this one, he eats it when he hears the crystals explode outside, and it gives him a strong jaw attack and a strong claw attack.
Cool. So I think we've got. Oh, the other thing that he has is a massive like wax. What would you call this? Sprayer?
I like to call it what it is by the name of the action is spray hot wax.
Yeah, it's a massive contraption that has like the plunger at the end of it and shoots out.
It's where he pulls the molten wax out of the cauldron and then puts it in for the molds for the candles.
Yeah.
That's what it is. and it looks like it could do probably 4 dozen candles at a time.
Yeah, it's pretty massive.
Actually, it looks like one of those little cock guns.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. So, all right, let's jump into some of it, and we're gonna do our best on the math here. I'm gonna kind of tell you what we're dealing with as far as like similar monster stats would go. I'm gonna do my best, but I'm not going off of any particular equation here. It's mostly gonna be my experience, which is essentially what I found for everything else online about Pathfinder to D&D conversions. Any addition to any edition was always like, hey, here's my basic math. It breaks down in these 10 places, but it's pretty good. And I'm like, there's no way to do this. So
No. Well, and unfortunately, so Pathfinder does have alternate rules of proficiency without level, which is going to take it down to that bounded accuracy that D&D has.
mhm.
Unfortunately, since this was a free one shot, none of these stat blocks are on Archives of Nethys for us to view for free and to have it automatically calculate that alternate rule for us.
That's all right. We're gonna muddle through this regardless.
I literally, Darius is level 3, subtract 3 from just about everything he has, and there's your proficiency without level.
And it's still super fucking high for D&D.
Yeah.
Now,
So
let's let's look at it first of all. Is what's interesting in Pathfinder, one of the very first things that I noticed was that the ability scores, you don't get the score in the stat block, you get the modifier.
So we used to get the score, and then they wanted to stop doing that because of OGL reasons and being legally distinct. So now we just do modifiers.
Which, I mean, fair enough.
95% of the time, you're using modifiers and not the actual score number itself.
Yeah.
In fact, if you want to do the calculations for jumping, be my guest, but I will pass.
Yeah, look, that's super fair. I can only think of a handful of instances where you're going after the score anyway, right? So,
Like, you have to try to do that. That is an intentional thing that you do. Just the modifier's fine.
yeah. So, but we've got a strength of +3, which normally means a 16 or 17. I will absolutely keep this. That makes a lot of sense. The +3, I wouldn't adjust that at all, which means I'm going to put him, because he's beefy in the picture, I'm going to put him at the 17 instead of 16. It makes no difference mechanically, but I don't think it hurts.
It just feels right.
Yeah, right. Dex is a +1, which is a 12 or 13. He doesn't look super dexterous, so I'm going to give him a 12. Con is a +2, so that's a 13, 14.
I'm gonna go 14. He's a big beefy dude.
I'm sorry, it's a 14, 15. And yeah,
15. He's a big beefy dude.
Intelligence is a +3, and that surprised me because he doesn't seem particularly smart.
I mean, he's a candle maker. And well, he has high intelligence because he's technically an alchemist, which is an intelligence scaling class.
And this is one of the places that it kind of breaks down. It's because we don't really hand out labels and shit like that in D&D, right? So,
which is why we can ignore it here. I'm fine with saying that, and he doesn't even have alchemist class, like player class features either. So
yeah, I was looking at him like, there's nothing that really, like, I understand why they would assign that, but it doesn't really matter for our purposes. So I would say he probably has an average intelligence for our stat block. And so I just give him a 10, right? Like straight rolls. If there are any intelligence saves that get thrown against him, I feel like he's got a standard ability, like a...
We don't even have that in Pathfinder. We just have fortitude, reflex, and will. So
yeah. Oh, and we're going to touch on that in a minute too. So wisdom is at a +0. And that one, strangely, because of the kidnapping and the sneaking around and stuff, that feels wrong. That feels low. That feels like it should be a +1 for...
Yeah, but how well did he cover his tracks?
I mean, that is very true. But he did manage to sneak in and steal them and get out, right?
Well, he's just smarter than them, though.
Well, and they're just little guys. So
they're just little guys.
I'm going to put him at 11. Still a +0, but I feel like he's still like he's on par for that. And then the last one is charisma. It's got a +1 in it. And in Dungeons and Dragons, that would absolutely not be a factor here. He would be a -1 just because he's a big, ugly dude.
I was just about to say he's not that bad looking of a guy. You know what? I'm sending this to the ladies. We'll have them judge.
Fair enough.
And you know what? I know your wife's going to comment about the fact he does have shoulders.
He does have shoulders. Fuck sakes. All right, fine. Well, and for the sake of Mieka, I'm going to give him a 12, so he still has that +1 then.
There you go. We did it for Mieka.
So the way that saves work in D&D. I'm going to jump down to that before we get into the other numbers here. The way that saves work in D&D is that every single one of the ability scores has a save if you are proficient with it, and every class is proficient in 2. And most monsters are proficient in like 1 or 2, depending on the CR. I am, but you don't get a bonus to the save. You just use, so like if it is a, let's say, strength save, for example, and you have a +3 to strength, then it's a +3. If you're proficient and you're low level, then you would have the +2 from your proficiency modifier, so it'd be a +5. The only time that they call out a specific save is when it needs to be above what you're expecting, right? Like this guy doesn't seem very dexterous, but his dexterity save is really high because he, I don't know, has some ethereal nonsense and he can kind of
Well,
blink out of existence or whatever, right?
this the design of Pathfinder is it's not save or suck. So like since we have the different degrees of success,
Yeah.
only on a critical success does nothing happen. He still takes half damage and everything on a successful save, which is why those scores are a little higher because it plans out on half the time you save, half the time you don't. So half the time you take full, half the time you take half.
Yeah. And so what we're going to do here is kind of split the difference, but we're going to look at fortitude, reflex, and will. These are the 3 that we get. Reflex is the easiest one. That's just a dex save. As much as he has +1 in dex, his reflex is +8. And this may be shocking to D&D players listening, but it's because all of the numbers are higher, right? And you keep in mind that if we take away the level-based proficiency as well, it's really a +5 in reflex. He should be able to have just a very slight edge on a dex save. That's the idea here. Slightly more than 50%, he should save more often than not, but not by a whole bunch. What does that translate to in D&D? That translates to about a 12. So he already has a +1 in dex, so his dex save would probably just stay at a +1. I might give it an additional, so it's a +2 in dex, but that's it, right? Like we're really muting the math on these. When we look at fortitude, that's constitution based, isn't it?
Constitution and strength. It's kind of the both. Because it could be, oh, you're trying not to get poisoned, but it's also you're trying not to get pushed.
He's okay, yeah, that's fair.
I mean, push that guy.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere, and
No,
I don't think you're going to poison him too easily either.
no.
But he's got a +3 and a +2 in strength and con respectively, and I would say he's probably proficient in them. So it's probably sitting at a +5, +4, and that feels about right.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Because fortitude is his highest save, so that should be the ones he's proficient in.
Yeah. He doesn't get a bonus. I would not give him a bonus to an intelligence save, just whatever he's got on the math we've done, which is a +0. Wisdom is the same thing, although wisdom does translate to will, at least the old 3.5 version was a direct correlation. Does it include charisma now?
No, will is just your wisdom. It scales with your wisdom. So if he had more than a +0 in wisdom, he'd have more than a +5 in will.
Okay. And then he doesn't have anything in charisma, or there's a +1 that we gave him, but there's no like charisma save in.
Yeah, will saves are his lowest save of the 3, so I'm good with those just being what they are stat wise.
Yeah, honestly, a 001 for the mental stats kind of makes
Yep.
sense for him.
Those are his lowest saves, so they should be his lowest saves.
Now, when it comes to AC, he's got an 18 for a CR3 creature. That is fucking wild. I kind of poked around at CR3 creatures to see what would be like kind of the same level of AC. I found the Minotaur of Baphomet. This is a big, strong, beefy Minotaur who's a CR3 creature with 85 hit points and an AC of 14. Darius is sitting at 45 hit points and an AC of 18. And the difference here is that in D&D, they want you to hit more often to end the encounter. In Pathfinder, they want you to swing and see if you hit. And when you do hit, you need fewer hits in order to kill them, right? So
it is very much a battle of attrition, of
yes,
making sure you land those hits and that they do a dent.
yeah. And then in D&D, it is you're probably going to hit. It feels better to hit. You may not do a ton of damage, but you're going to hit, right? So so to balance this into
well, and also I don't know how your CR system works. You say you know, I don't know. Because right as I started really getting my DM legs going, I moved systems, so I didn't really have time to break down CR and understand it.
So there are mechanics for them. They're wonky as all hell, and depending on what level you're talking about, it works or it doesn't. And they break the system all over the place, like intellect devours and shadows and shit, right?
Exactly.
So
So
the general consensus here is that the CR rating means this is the level that your party should be at if it is a party of 4 adventurers that are competent, that have had a full rest, and this is going to make it so. And when they do this, they will not die. You will not end up killing your characters if they are a full party that has shown up. They're moderately competent. They know how all their shit works, and they've had a long rest. So it's merely a how deadly is this, right? No one will drop to 0 hit points at a if you have a level 3 party of 4 up against a CR3 creature. That's it.
a
And how
single one, no. A single in at least for this for level 3, a single on player level is going to be a trivial encounter.
really?
Yes. So I don't think level 3 translates over to CR3.
I was looking at what he does and his attacks specifically, and he reads like a CR5 creature. Especially, or we're gonna get into skills here in a second, and this is where he pops off to hit at like a level 5. And like, because I remember that fight being fucking scary, right? Now,
Yeah, I think it's just the math and the balance of action economy that really swings the tide.
I also think that the average first level Pathfinder character can probably ruffle stomp a fucking first level D&D character. D&D characters are
Probably.
notoriously weak in tier 1. So,
And a level 20 Marshal in Pathfinder will ruffle stomp a level 20 Marshal in D&D. So,
well, until you get into wizard nonsense, but yes, I will
well,
agree.
that's why I said Marshal.
Yeah. Um, I think that's fairly true. Even if you flatten the math, Pathfinder characters just have more things to do, right? So, looking at Darius as far as AC and hit points, though, I would bring his AC down to about a 15. That feels about right for a CR5,
And
and
that
bring
would
his
be proficiency without level, would literally just subtract his level that hits us at a 15.
yeah. But then I'd beef up his hit points. It doesn't give us a breakdown on this. It just says 45. The way that we would have to reverse engineer this would be okay, what are his hit dice? All right. If we're treating him like a CR5 creature, he gets 5 of them. What's the average? And then we're going to add the constitution times his CR level to that. So, for example, if he is a CR or if he's got hit dice that are 10, D10s, then that would be like a 5.5. They tend to round down. So that's a 5. Times 5 is 25 hit points times what's his constitution plus what do we say 2
Yeah.
times 5, so he'd get up to 35 hit points, which is why his con would probably be a little bit higher, and they'd give him probably like D12s, right, to beef up that math. It's not going to be perfect because what I'm trying to do here is convert it, and it's not great to convert it. But if I'm going to grab just a CR5, what is a beefy CR5 creature?
So while you're thinking and doing the math, let's remember back to the beginning of the episode when we said, honestly, sometimes it's just vibes. So as you started doing that, my brain said, should we double it? No, 90 might be a bit too much. What about 80? Okay, at least minimum 75.
If we do 75, and we're going to assume that our players are what, level 2ish by the time they're at this fight.
No, it's a level 3. Level 3 one shot all the way through.
Okay, so they're level 3. They're going to be doing 25 damage in a round. So 75 gets them 3 solid rounds. They'll whiff a couple of times. You might get a 4th round out of it, or someone might crit. You might only end up with 3. But that feels light. This is a boss, right? I want 5 rounds out of
Sure,
this.
but he's not the only guy in this fight.
That's true. That's true.
And when you were doing your numbers and you threw them out and you were like, oh, calculating blah, 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 you said 35. 35 plus 45 hits us at 80, which is the number that I did think.
Yeah, that's fair. Look, we can sit here and play with the numbers all fucking day. It's never going to convert properly. I was going
Also,
to.
don't you just do that in your DM screen as they just crit it twice and you said, I want this to be more than 2 rounds?
No, 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 no. I never do that. That's why I always give everybody maximum fucking hit points, right? Like by my math, that would have been way higher.
Okay, well, if you want to give him max, I'd say between 75 to 100 hit points, I think sounds good for Darius.
For a CR5 Gladiator in the monster manual here, they've got an AC of 16 and hit points of 112. That is like average hit points of 112. That feels a little bit beefy for him. So I would say AC 15, hit points of anywhere between 80 and 95 sits fine with me. I just want to make sure that we're going to have a knockdown, drag out brawl.
That's fair. I agree. Also, your numbers fell within my numbers, so I guess our vibes are lining up.
Yeah. When it comes to skills, he has athletics plus 10. Even if we remove the 3 on all of this, it's going to be super fucking high. He has athletics plus 10, crafting, which doesn't exist. We can throw it out, but that was at a plus 10. He just does it. He's an NPC. He just does it.
He's an
Deception
NPC alchemist. Like he just makes it. It's fine. Also, that doesn't come up.
No, it doesn't. Like mechanically, we don't need that. Deception might be useful if you're gonna get into role playing with them. He has a plus 8. Again, that's super fucking high. Occultism, which is Arcana, is high, and Society would be History. That's a plus 10. I'm not sure that we're going to need these ever
Probably not.
in the gameplay, but sure. Let's do the math on it anyway. The most important one out of the 4 of them, because we're getting rid of crafting, is athletics, right?
Yes, I would honestly just do athletics and deception and call it a day there.
I think that's fantastic. We're going to give him proficiency in it, which means that he would have at this level a plus 6 to athletics. That math lines up really nicely, actually, with what we can be expecting when they get into a grapple fight. Him with a plus 6, that'll still be a pain in the ass for a wizard at 5th level, but it'll be pretty on par with a barbarian at 5th level, right?
Also, this guy is medium sized and the leshies are small sized. Hold him down. Like you're gonna have to be strong.
Yeah, exactly. And deception is only a little bit less than that, although his mental stats are way lower. This is why I would give him like proficiency with it as well, with the charisma plus 1, and then the plus 3 will give a plus 4. The plus 3 from proficiency, so a total of plus 4 for deception. That math lines up nicely as well for what to expect at about this level.
Honestly, if I'm at this point of homebrewing, I might give him persuasion instead of deception. I think he's gonna be better at pleading than lying, but that's how I like to play him.
Or hell, he's a big fucking guy. Intimidation.
No, yeah, literally.
Yeah. So he speaks common. Oh, sorry. The other thing here is not listed with the skills is perception plus 7. So just give him proficiency in perception. His wisdom is a 0, but that'll be a plus 3. You'll be fine at this level. Chances are
perception is also our initiative, so that's why it's a little higher.
Ah, okay. Interesting. I'd forgotten.
Also, perception is proficiency is dictated by your class and everything, so you can't just cheese it and see everything. That's one thing I do like.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give the perception, a plus 5 along with charisma for D&D purposes. And then his initiative is actually only a plus 1 because it's based solely off of your dexterity.
And you know what? I might actually, if you trigger the gem trap outside, I might give him advantage on that because you literally had exploding crystals right outside. He heard you coming. He knows you're coming.
You know what? You know how I would run that myself with the D&D mechanics is I would have him have a readied action. So the moment you open the door, he gets his attack in, and then we go into regular initiative.
Actually, yeah. The second you open the door, you get hit with a wax spray, and then we're regular initiative.
Yeah. And so it doesn't matter where he lands within it. He's going to get that one wax spray off.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Lists out a whole bunch of items here. He's got a couple of bestial mutagens, which are neat. And of course, the wax sprayer. We sat there and tried to come up with a name for it. It literally says improvised wax sprayer. Good job, Adam. Reading comprehension is great. And then, let's skip down to the actions. He's got jaws and claws, and then a wax stirring stick, and then this wax spray. So this is where D&D gets a little bit fucky. And even though we're building them kind of between a CR3 and a CR5, I'm going to go to CR4 to get the actual mechanics for hitting hard for a beefy guy like this. So that's going to give us I'm just looking at let's go with Were Tiger because they're going to have claws and jaws as well. Is loading on D&D Beyond.
Yeah, that's gonna be you. I'm not gonna be able to see that. I don't know in the book.
No, that's all right. The bite here is a plus 5 5-foot reach and does 2d8 plus 3 damage. So it hits less, but it hits harder than his jaws, which is a plus 12 to hit, whereas we're dealing with a plus 5. So we're flattening the math quite a bit. And then the damage is 1d8 plus 5, but this is 2d8 plus 3. It's still only an average of 12 as opposed to an average of 9 damage. I'm comfortable with that because you shouldn't really be biting too much.
I mean, okay, so you ready? You ready for my vibe take?
Yeah.
Get rid of that wax stirring stick. I don't care. That's not the fun
Oh.
part. We have the wax sprayer. And he has his mutagen, so he has claws and teeth. I'm gonna give him a multi-attack where he does a bite and a slash, and then he's also gonna have his wax spray.
Yes, the multi-attack does not include the spray hot wax though.
No, that's a separate action.
And the spray hot wax, I'm going to give a recharge so it only hits on a 4 to 6. That's going to counterbalance your multi-attack.
Well, and it says that he has to take 2 interact actions to refill it from the cauldron. We're just gonna give it the reload of the because I thought about doing a bonus action because making it a full action just feels bad, man.
Yeah,
but a bonus action would be too much.
Bonus action while adjacent to the vat.
Yeah, so, but I still think that would be too much because then he can just do that every turn.
Yeah, but if it recharges, like he can only operate the mechanism on a 4 to 6. That's what a recharge. That's how that works in the D&D. So a lot of the times it'll say beside the title, recharge on a 4 to 6. So what you do is you roll a d6, and if you get a 4, 5, or 6, then they can use this attack again.
Okay, so that's a 50-50. I'm okay with that. And if he gets it, he can spend a bonus action to refill.
Exactly. And that's going to assume that he's still beside the vat. If they get him away from it, it's not going to work.
No, he's just biting and clawing.
Yeah. And with the crystalline nails and teeth, I like the fact that he's getting a multi-attack. I was with you. The stir stick, it's so dumb. I don't know why they include D&D does this too. It does less damage. It is less likely to hit. Why is this included? And
I think because you see, he can do bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. All 3 of them.
Yeah, and the only thing here is now there is a non-lethal option, right? In Dungeons and Dragons, you can always choose, as long as it's not magic. You can hold on.
It has to be melee. You can't do it with an arrow.
It has to be melee. That's what it is. And that you can do non-lethal. So
no, we have a whole formula for making non-lethal attacks with lethal weapons and making lethal attacks with non-lethal weapons, but we won't get into that. Because realistically, this guy should not be killing anyone. He's the mid-boss. Should he be leaving everyone at minimum half health? Okay, I won't say minimum half health, but yes, everyone should have taken a solid beating.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. No, what's interesting here is that bites tend to do more damage than claws in D&D.
Which I did notice that this is the other way around, which I think that's actually consistent with, I think that is inconsistent with Pathfinder. I think bites usually always do more damage.
So frankly, I would just fix that.
I would literally switch that because a claw, the fact that, again, there's really no D&D equivalent, but I'm just poking fun at the stat block right now because we're analyzing it. Why are your jaws agile and your claws are not? That is implying that it is easier to make repeated attacks with your jaws than it is with your claws. And I would argue scratching repeatedly is easier than biting repeatedly. I
would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that, especially because there are a lot of bite attacks and other stat blocks that will do things like grapple and will restrain people or hold on to them, or you can, there's even swallow mechanics, right? So, but claws tend to just come in a flurry.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would switch that. But ultimately, again, at the end of the day, how I flavor it makes no difference. And I doubt slashing versus piercing damage will make a difference. So, whatever. We can call it a weird typo. We can say we disagree with it, but does it make a mechanical impact?
The big difference here is that I would use him to grab someone. If he's knocked out 2 of the 4 players or whatever, and then he grapples one of them, and the players at this point have figured out that his teeth do more damage than his claws, and he grapple, and then on the next turn he can bite. I think that would be more flavorful and scary. So I would make a distinction. I would fix it. I would make the jaws scarier. Also, I'm a fan of James Bond, and the character Jaws was awesome, and he had metal teeth. So
is that a reference I'm too young to understand?
I think I was too young to understand. Jaws was Roger Moore. James Bond was like the 80s. I was like a toddler, but my dad liked James Bond, so I have seen them all.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, and that brings us then to the spray hot wax, which is kind of the winner here. So I'm going to read it out loud. Darius sprays hot wax from his improvised wax sprayer in a 15-foot cone. We don't have to adjust that. 15-foot cone is a common thing in D&D, so great. All creatures in the area must attempt a DC 20 reflex save. That's insane. We'll come back to that. Scented candle homunculi in the area take no damage, instead healing 2d6 damage. That's really fun and flavorful, and I like that. I'm going to be honest.
I never got to use it, but yeah.
The homunculi are super, super low CR, and we'll get to them in a minute. But like 2d6 is way more than their max hit points. So
yeah, these guys have 17 HP.
Yeah, they're really beefy. I was going to address that in the next stat block. 2d6 seems like a lot. I might make it 2d4 because we flattened math, but I don't care. If 2d6 getting them back up to full health, they're homunculi. Like, they're not going to last more than 2 rounds anyway.
He is not going to use the spray hot wax to heal them, but if it lines up perfectly, I'm going to let it because that's cool.
Exactly. Darius can't use it again until he takes 2 interact actions while adjacent to the cauldron of bubbling wax to reload the sprayer. We already came up with our shit for that. But then we have 4, and this is the thing that I really love about Pathfinder, I wish D&D would do. We have 4 actual like success criteria here. On a critical success, the creature takes no damage. So on their save, on a success,
which would be getting a critical success would be a 30 or more on your reflex save.
Which is nuts.
Well, some people have that. Let me look through the pre-gens real quick. You, as bottle speaker, had a +6. You're not getting a crit success.
No.
Gerald had a +9, so he's not getting it either, but he was close. No one played popcorn with a +6, but the rogue has a +11.
There you go. Okay.
The rogue can do it on a 19.
Jeez. So 10% chance.
Literally. Well, everyone can do it on a nat 20 because they bump it up 1 degree.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that's cool.
Yep. That's how we do nat 20s and nat 1s. It bumps it up or it bumps it down a degree. So you can roll a nat 1 and still just get a regular failure if your modifier's that high and the DC is that low.
That's fun. Yeah, the way that they do it is it's always a failure if it's a combat roll. If you're out of initiative and you're not in combat and it's just like a skill check, then a 1 is a 1. Add your modifiers, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So
anyway, so a critical success of absolutely nothing happens to you, you're rolling a 30 or more, which is unlikely.
So then it says a success is 2d6 fire damage. A failure is 3d6 fire damage plus 1d6 persistent fire damage. And a critical failure is 5d6 fire damage plus 2d6 persistent fire damage. So we don't really have these degrees of success. What we have instead, commonly in our stat blocks, are
save for half.
If you it's either like if you fail you take half damage, or if you fail by 5 or more, then this additional thing happens.
Okay, because now we're just mimicking these degrees of success.
Well, it's been that way, I think, for a while. Yeah, so the idea of you succeed, there is no such thing as like a critical success on this. I rolled a 20, I do it, right? Like your numbers are high enough on a save. But as far as success goes, 2d6 fire damage at this level is an average of 6. So that's not super brutal. It's this persistent fire damage. We don't really have a mechanic for that in D&D either. Actually, let me check and see if there's new rules for burning in the new.
Any of this partnered content coming out have that? Actually, I'd be very curious. Does Abomination Vaults have that? Since it is a Pathfinder mechanic. Is it there in the Pathfinder campaign module in D&D?
That is a good question. Give me 1 second. I'm looking up burning. A burning creature object takes 1d4 fire damage at the start of each of its turns. Okay, good. That's right in the player's handbook in the new edition, so the new rule set.
Yeah, I'm down to say if you fail, you're burning.
Sure. And 1d4 is fine for me because I think 3d6 is punishing at this level.
Well, no, I would do fire damage and you're burning.
Oh, yes. But I'm content to drop it all down to, or drop the burning damage to 1d4 because the initial damage is punishing at this level. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
So
I'm fine. Failing adds the burning condition. Succeeding does not. Succeed for half the fire damage. What's the fire damage that we're thinking? If a success is 2d6 and a failure is 3d6, are we wanting 4d6 regular and then save for half to get that too?
I would have, so on a success, you take half damage. So on a failure, you would take 3d6 fire damage plus 1d4. On a success, you take half as much and do not get the burning condition. On a failure of 5 or more, I'd do 4d6 fire damage plus 2d4 persistent. We're looking at third level characters, and this is the damn thing about it, is your wizard, if they roll maximum hit points on all of their hit dice and they have put nothing into constitution, they have 18 hit points. 4d6 plus persistent fire damage will knock them down in a round, and that's way out of that's beyond, I think, what Darius is meant to do, right?
I would say that's accurate. However, I think a wizard should be able to manage to stay at least 15 feet away from him.
You would fucking hope so.
I would, but those players do exist, so you're right.
So I'm comfortable with the 4d6 fire damage, right? Because that's going to be an average of 12 damage, which is 2/3 of their hit point. And then they, even with the 2d4 persistent on the next round, that would be another 4. So that's putting them at 16 hit points out of their maximum 18, assuming they rolled really well. That's really fucking scary. They'll be retreating.
I might even trigger that burning damage at the end of their turn. That way I kind of give the implication of figure it out right now. It is your turn. You got to figure this out or you're done.
When does persistent fire damage normally hit, or persistent damage?
For Pathfinder, it is the end of their turn, I believe. Or is it the
Perfect.
beginning?
Yep.
No, I think it's end.
Yep. That's fantastic. A lot of the times when we see something that's an ongoing effect in a D&D stat block, you've got it's usually it hits at the beginning of their turn, and then it says immediately afterwards, if they make this save, they can end the effect. So like, you're going to get hit by this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that tends to be how it's tallied, although there are exceptions to that rule. So I'm comfortable with Darius. Darius is the other thing, sorry, that we skipped over was Darius metabolizes the power of an active mutagen to regain 2d6 hit points. If he does so, or if he's confronted by a stealthy party before he's had a chance to drink a mutagen, he loses his jaws and claws unarmed attacks. His bonus on athletics checks decreases by 2, and his AC increases by 1. And his reflex save bonus increases by 2. So there's a lot going on with this mutagen. In D&D speak, it would just be the hit points. And if he's going to heal, that's fine.
Well, if it's implying there that if he heals, he loses his teeth and his claws.
Yeah, it's such an interesting mechanic that would work that way. Honestly, I don't see that as being a thing that you would ever read in the D&D stat block, although I like it quite a bit.
It's also not something that I want to do. It takes away half of his cool factor.
Yeah, and honestly, we're homebrewing this. So if he drinks one of these things, I'd let him regain 2d6 hit points and keep on trucking, right? I'd also...
Yeah, how dare I give him potions instead? Like...
Exactly.
He's an alchemist.
And he's got 2 of these mutagens. I'm going to make it so that he can quaff these as a bonus action. Drag this fight out a little bit longer.
Yeah. I'm down with chug a potion as a bonus action.
Yeah, so...
And you know what? If the players take him out, get him to surrender before he has a chance to drink both of them, I'll give them the bonus action potions.
Yeah. You know what? Absolutely.
That's actually a very common house rule that I have played with is potions or bonus actions. I mean, that's how Baldur's Gate does it.
Honestly, that's how the new D&D does it as well. So, but that's always been a homebrew rule for me anyway. As long as you have access to it or you can draw it easily. But if you have to go hunting through a downed player's backpack, it's going to take an action to get it.
Yeah, that's reasonable. So I'm pretty happy with Darius there. I guess there's one thing that we haven't decided. What is the reflex DC? Because I don't think 20 is going to be reasonable.
His dexterity
do we do a 12?
His dexterity is a +1. His proficiency is a +3. So I'd call it a +4.
Sorry, not his save. The save that you have to make on the hot wax.
Oh, the hot wax save. It's a DC 20. My thought process here is that it should hit 50% of the players.
I think they should have. I think half the time they should be saving for half.
Yeah, which means that it should be middle of the road. These guys are going to have Dex is always the thing that people pump into. So they'll have like a +1, +2. They're all proficient, or those that are proficient will have a +3, and that's going to be your monks and your rogues.
So 12.
Sorry, what we had: a druid, a barbarian, a rogue,
a bard, and an alchemist, not a rogue.
Not a rogue.
That's what we had.
Yeah, that's right.
The module is druid, bard, barbarian, rogue. Andre didn't want to play the bard. Andre didn't want to play barbarian. He wanted to play his own.
Yeah, I think that barbarians have proficiency in Dex, and I know rogues do. Strength. Oh no, it's Constitution. All right. So really, one of the four is going to be proficient in it. So we're looking at honestly a DC 14.
I'm cool with that. Literally, I was thinking 12 or 15, and you put me in the middle. So
Let's see if I can keep doing that. Things are about to get fucking stupid here in a second. Because we're going to move on to homunculus.
yay, the homunculi, because there's two of them.
Yes, they are a CR1 creature. They have
They
an
are a
ace.
level 1 creature.
Sorry, level 1
difference.
creature. I will not get used to that. They have an AC of 17 and 17 hit points. Hey, Scott, want to know what the homunculus looks like in D&D?
Sure.
It's a CR0 with an AC of 13 and 4 hit points. They're a one-hit kill, and you will likely hit them.
Nice.
So with an AC of 13, the way that bounded accuracy is going to work is that even if you, whatever your attack is going to be, it's probably going to be a +2 or a +3. If it's like with a bow and arrow for a ranger, it'll be Dex. If it's an axe for barbarian, it'll be Strength. With spellcasters, so on and so forth. But you're going to end up with a +2, +3. And then your proficiency modifier at this point is a +2. So you're going to be at like a +5. You have over a 50% chance of hitting these guys and like a one-hit kill. So they're super freaking weak in D&D. And do you want to know my solution to this? And we can bust it down. We can break it down if you like. But you want to know my solution? I want to give them.
There.
Sorry?
4 homunculi.
Yeah. I was gonna give them the perfume aura and then just keep the homunculus stat block because they're AC 17 and hit points are 17. They're probably supposed to last 2 to 3 rounds. If these guys are getting targeted by a couple of players, then I'm going to do 3 rounds times 2 players is 6, and that is for 1. So I would put like 9 of these guys flitting around the room.
Oh yeah, I think I'm down with keeping them like that. But I do think then that if Darius wax sprays them, healing is moot because they're a one-hit kill.
Yeah, that's fair.
So then maybe if he hits them with wax, they have +1 AC and 50% more HP.
Love it.
Because he just bolstered them with wax.
Yeah, hold on. Their maximum hit points are 1d4 +2, so that's 6. So I would just give them 6 temporary hit points.
Yeah, temp HP works too. Would you up the AC by 1 as well?
Yeah, I would. Yes.
+1 AC and 6 temp HP.
That makes them a little bit scarier, and because you're gonna cast your first area of effect is gonna wipe out half of them in the room, right? Like
I didn't ask how big the room is. I said I cast fireball.
Exactly. The homunculi melt.
They are made out of wax, so they would.
Let's look at a couple of interesting things on the stat block, though, and see what the D&D version would be. So what's interesting is that they both understand common, but neither of them can speak it. And they both have dark vision. It just says dark vision here. What's the average dark vision in Pathfinder?
I believe that's a total of 60, but I'll have to look it up.
Well, it's 60 feet in D&D, like in their stat block, they have it as well. Their perception here is average on both, it looks like. And then what is Master Link? Is that telepathy with the Master?
It's a familiar ability that I can pull up in just a second, but I guarantee you what we're going to end up saying is, cool, next.
Well, I like the idea of it being able to communicate or to even be warged into by its master. We just did a homunculus episode not long ago, and we were kind of pissed that you can't do that. We were adding
recorded or
like
released because I don't think I remember listening to it.
Sorry?
Recorded or released because I don't think I remember listening to it.
It was released.
Dang it!
12 weeks ago, 3 months ago.
Oh, maybe I did. I just don't remember. Life's been crazy. Anyway.
It came out in July. So the time of recording, it came out at the end of July. So you're 3 months back.
Masterlink doesn't even pull any rules up when I search it on Archives of Nethys, so...
Yeah.
Hold on. Here's a remastered called Bloodlink, specific to the homunculus, where they're telepathically linked to its creator using their shared blood as a conduit, because, you actually do have to give a homunculus a couple drops of your blood in order to make it.
Yep.
So there you go.
So, yeah, we have the trait here in D&D. While the homunculus is on the same plane of existence as its master, the two of them can communicate telepathically with each other.
Oh, and then this says that if the homunculus is destroyed, the master takes 2d10 mental damage.
Oh, that would be a nice little detail. I would very much like to add that.
I probably wouldn't, especially if you're adding 9 of them.
Oh no, I mean to a homunculus stat block in general, not for our
Oh yeah, yeah,
purposes
yeah.
today.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, so one burning hands that takes out 4 of them is going to chunk half of Darius's health.
Yeah, you know what? Because what's do you think that their base is made of wax instead of blood? Like, do you think that if you kill them and they just fall down in pieces or whatnot, maybe the cauldron, if you can kill all 9 of them, the cauldron can't be used to refill or something like that?
I mean, maybe. I'm not upset about that. I mean, the cauldron's still on a recharge, so maybe we just make it a recharge 5 and then a recharge 6 when they're all gone.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Cool. I do like though that they have. I'm getting a little ahead in the stat block, but this part excites me. So I'm just gonna jump to it. They have a dunk in wax where if they're next to the cauldron, they can just get the bonus of being sprayed with the wax just by dunking themselves in.
I love that. 100% keep that shit. That is
100% keeping that because first I would play it to where Darius does it, and they're like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then the next one just flies up to the cauldron and jumps in and comes out beefed up like that.
The only other thing that's really worth mentioning here is the perfume aura. It's a 5-foot aura. The scented candle homunculus's fragrance of lavender is overwhelmingly intense. Any creature other than the homunculus's master who enters the aura must attempt a DC 15 fortitude save. First of all, I'm going to change that so that other homunculi are not affected by this either. Just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, hold
And
on. Does it not say that they're not? Actually, I think they're just, yeah, they're just immune to being poisoned and sickened, so they would be immune to the downsides anyway. You got really
interest,
quiet after that.
Yeah, no, I wanted to read everything that they were immune to, and there's a long list of it. What's interesting is that they're also immune to healing, so all of this like boosting them up with temporary hit points they're immune to. So I would just scratch that. Fuck that. That's not even a mechanic in D&D.
Yeah, I think it's more of like you can't cast a healing spell on them, but they
Yeah,
can get more wax. That's not even something I've ever seen in another Pathfinder stat block.
yeah, that's weird. And then poison and sickened, sure. There is no sickened in D&D. Like you're not going to see that in one of the stat blocks. So you would have to put in the just any creature other than the homunculus's master or another homunculus who enters the aura must attempt a DC 15 fort save. Sure, that's fine. This is a really low fortitude save, so I would just call it a DC 10
I'm
con
cool with
save.
that. And I am the worst at doing auras, and I never do auras in my games. Did I ever have you guys roll on that?
I was going to say I didn't remember this. I was going to ask if you had pulled
No,
this
because I
away.
hate them. I have in my home game, they're facing Zolgath, which are the non-slur version of Troglodyte. And they have a stinky aura because they smell bad. And I've not once made my players roll on that because I just that's a lot to keep track of as well. And I have alcohol when I GM, so I'm not gonna worry about it.
Fair. And yeah, but for the con save, I would just keep that as a DC 10. You want your players to shrug it off, but still have some level of fear about it, right?
Although I do have concerns over the strong scented aura with 9 of them.
Yeah, but it doesn't do damage.
No, but the sicken one condition gives you a -1 to every single thing that you want to do until you spend an action throwing up,
We don't have that. We just have poison, which gives you disadvantage.
which I
And
think is a little too stiff for what this needs to be.
well, I'm gonna make it a save or suck, right? Like with the DC 10, I would just have it be you have the poisoned condition until the end of your next turn,
That's fair.
right? So they will be essentially. Let me pull up poison so I can quote it directly to you because you don't see these. While you have the poison condition, you experience the following effect: ability checks and attacks, so not saves. When you have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. That's it. So, and for one turn, this is just going to motivate them to target the homunculi, and that'll split the party's firepower for a couple of rounds.
And then
Which
further annoy them when I spray these homunculi with wax or have them dip into the cauldron.
exactly right, which could be fun. So, I'm liking this as a knockdown dragout fight. Darius feels so much scarier now that we're dealing with the homunculi with the perfume aura. The next time
So
you
what kind
run
of
this,
attacks do we have?
sorry.
No, I was getting there. What kind of attacks do we have?
Oh, it's just a bite that does it's a +4 to hit, which is essentially, I mean, you still have less than a 50% to hit most players. Maybe a wizard has an AC of 13 or 14, but they'll have mage armor, so it's not a big deal. And when they
Yeah.
hit, they do 1 piercing damage. Then you get the poisoned condition until the end of the homunculus's next turn. Failure by 5 or more, the target is poisoned for 1 minute.
So I feel like I'm down with keeping that just about consistent. Replace the poison with the burning. So instead of having it for 1 round, you just take, 1d4 persistent fire. No, just 1d4 fire damage. And if you fail by 5 or more, now you are burned.
Yeah, I'm
So
absolutely
have it do 1d4 fire plus 1 piercing damage on a hit. I mean, that does seem a lot stronger, but it's a +4 to hit.
Yeah, and honestly, if we make that burning damage so much scarier, it's the save that's the scary thing, right? Not the damage taken. If
Yeah.
we were to use the actual, like, you take a single point of piercing damage on the bite, but it's the fire that's the scary thing. I think they'll respect to use Mieka's phrase, they'll respect the homunculi a little bit more, and they'll stay in. I don't want to make them too deadly because there's going to be 9 of them.
Yeah. And then these in the module have a ranged attack. Are we interested in a ranged attack or no?
Ranger attack is a wax glob. If we have 9 of them that are forcing them to be attacking with disadvantage, and then they can also do like light them on fire, because it's persistent fire damage, right?
Yes.
This is overkill. We don't
Yeah.
need Darius at this point. So
No.
if they can just swarm them, then they're deadly enough. So
Okay.
I think we're comfortable where we are without the.
I think so. I think that's a good fight.
I love the idea of them like lobbing wax globs. You know what? Maybe it makes the player restrained.
If after they get hit with 3 wax globs, since there's 9 of us,
So not even just if you get hit by one, then you are
you
just
take 1 fire damage and are restrained.
yeah, yeah.
Have these guys do no damage, but then riders on all of their attacks.
That's a lot of fun.
Honestly, yeah.
So
It's more to annoy them than it is to kill them.
you're gonna have that one player that's gonna be super pissed off at them the whole time.
You mean like a Dan?
Dan would do it. I could get Casey to lose her shit at one of these things, or at a swarm of these things. Absolutely, Mieka would have no fucking patience. This is when Mieka pulls out Fireball.
She said,
Or,
actually, I'm tired of these guys. Fuck them.
yeah, for a CR0, absolutely. She would burn a Fireball for the room. Absolutely, that's a lot of fun. I mean, she wouldn't have access to it, but she'd want to.
But she would have access to Burning Hands, though, and I believe that is where she would be going.
Yes. All right, that's going to bring us to our Leshy friends.
Yay, which these Leshy friends, there are 4 of them. Now, they all share one base stat block, and then each just have a little extra that they get to do based off which of the 4 it is.
Yes, and I like that quite a bit. It's going to make our job easier here.
Oh my god, can you imagine if it gave you 4 unique stat blocks? By the way, these stat blocks take up minimum a third of a page.
In a lot of the D&D modules, what you'll see is in bolded text. It'll be like, you turn the corner and you see so and so, some NPC. And then in brackets, use the bandit stat block, and bandit will be in bold, and then it will just say with the following differences, and it'll list 2 or 3 things. It'll be like a weapon is changed, they can fly because they're an Aarakocra instead of a standard bandit, like shit like that, right? So they
I
do a
would
lot
be
of that
curious as
substitution.
to how that is in a regular, like full adventure, because of course this is meant to be you hand it to a dude or gal. I mean, I won't judge. You hand it to whoever's running the game for free RPG day, and they have everything that they need to run it 4 times that day.
Yeah, you cut me off. I was heading in exactly that direction. I was going to say that's great for the big modules, but I wanted this way for a little one shot for a newbie.
Oh yeah.
So
See, we really are vibing on the same length.
Scott, I think that you and I could co-DM very happily. So
I think we would have a lot of fun with it.
yeah.
You'd be the ideas guy mostly, because I mean that's what this whole podcast is the ideas guy.
Do you know how bad I would feel for the players that would have to listen to us be 2 different NPCs? We'd be popping off and ignoring the rest of the table.
We'd be like, oh, you walk into a bar and you see a couple in the corner having a fight. And I know at least my players, I don't know about yours, but they would just let me sit there and role play the fight until I stopped.
Uh,
And neither of us would.
no, I'm gonna say I'm about a 50% of my table would try to butt in, but only after like 3 minutes.
They'd let us sit there for a little bit and argue. Oh,
um,
this is a great idea. We should do this sometime.
all right, Scott. The next episode you're on, that's the idea. We'll just come up with 4 different fights between 8 different NPCs. We could pop off for 2 hours. All right, so let's jump into these leshies before I get really distracted by that idea. The basic stats here: it's strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. All of them are so close to average that I would leave them as is. I
Yeah,
would
I'm good with that.
I would probably drop the intelligence by a modifier. It's -1. I drop it to a -2. That makes sense to me. And dex +4 is wild, but dex +2, like I'd cut it all by like half, maybe. Like the strength +1, dex +2, con +1, intelligence -2, wisdom goes from a +2 to a -1. Just pull one off of everything. Because they're non-intelligent, like they're moderately intelligent plant monsters. They're just
So
gonna
these
murder.
ones, lore-wise, actually are not created how normal leshies are. She made them, so
Yeah,
they're even more dumb.
yeah. They're a little Frankenstein monsterish. So
She's not a powerful archdruid creating leshies, okay? She is a prissy rich woman who everyone wants to fight.
exactly. So I'd drop them all maybe by a degree. Dex I'd drop by 2 for the modifiers, and that's about it. AC 18 is wildly high considering you're fighting 4 of these at a time and you're essentially squaring off, 1-to-1 with them because 4 players, 4 leshies. 18 means you guys are never going to hit, but they've got super low hit points. And again, this is how Pathfinder differs from D&D. So I'd kind of swap the mentalities again, give them an AC of 13 and give them hit points of like 55, right?
And then up the healing of the verdant burst.
Yeah, which we'll jump into in a second. I think that as far as God, what would they be proficient in for their saves? Of the 6 stat blocks, I feel like Dex and Con would be what they're proficient in.
Probably, yeah.
So at CR2, they're getting a +2 from proficiency. Sorry, creature level 2. They're getting a +2 to their proficiency. So yeah, that would be make a strength would be a save of 1, dex would be a save of 4, con would be a save of 3, and the rest of them would be middling. So I'm content with that. We don't have to do much more. There's not a single skill listed, which is interesting. Oh no, there they
There
are.
are.
Sorry,
There's 4 of them. 3
sorry,
of
I
them.
was looking in the wrong spot.
You
Um,
couldn't read and I can't count, so there we are.
so there are 3 of them. Athletics, sure. They've got a +6. We want them to be this kind of athletic-y, grapply kind of feel to them. So
Specifically the mint. The mint I would give.
yeah. And I'm comfortable leaving it because I don't think the others will ever dig into that. Nature, who gives a shit? Stealth as the highest. Again, we're gonna get into combat here pretty quickly. It's not gonna matter.
Yeah. Well, and the point is they're supposed to be like hiding in the garden while you're looking for your leshies. No one ever goes, I want to look around at all of the plants by the bushes where
We've
they're actually standing.
we've got shit. I am tired, so I can't remember right now. There is something that pops up in stat blocks where you just hold on. Gargoyle has it. Let me look up a gargoyle. Whoa, they lost the ability to just blend in and be a statue?
I don't
Oh,
like that.
it's different. It's in the lore section now. Choose a result from the gargoyle camouflage table to inspire when a gargoyle sets up an ambush. Wow, they didn't give that. That's bizarre. Hold on one second. I'm gonna try to find this ability. There are people screaming at the fucking radios right now. Radios?
Radios.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry,
all
I
right.
drive and listen to podcasts, so radio.
That's fair.
It's called false appearance. And the idea here is that while the gargoyle remains motionless, it is indistinguishable from an inanimate statue. I don't need the stealth. I'm just going to give this to the leshies.
Yeah.
While motionless, they look like plants.
I mean, because they are.
Yeah, yeah. So What's interesting as well is that they speak Common, Druidic, Sylvan, and speak with plants. It's wild that they speak Common, but I mean, I guess they would need to understand it to get orders. But I was surprised to see the long list of languages.
I would have it kind of like with the homunculi where they're not going to say a thing.
No, I like them better mute.
Yeah.
You played them that way, and that was fun.
I think of them more akin to constructs because that's kind of how she made them. She made them more as constructs and less as people.
That's very accurate. Yes.
Because again, she's not an all-powerful archdruid. She ain't that good.
When we look at their defensive capabilities, AC 18, hit points 30. I mean, I feel like we've talked about this. I want them to be in combat long, but I want to be able to like hit them repeatedly. So drop it to 15, the AC to 15, and the hit points jump them way up.
Are you talking like 75 or like 100 or like 50?
70?
70? Okay.
Because you're going to run into 4 at a time, so that's 280 hit points you got to work through.
Well, and then they also have this lovely ability where when you kill one, they explode in healing, which does heal the party.
Yes. When Aleshi dies, a burst of primal energy explodes from its body, restoring 2d8 hit points to each plant creature in a 30-foot emanation. This, which is wildly huge. This area is filled with plants of the same type as the Leshy, becoming difficult terrain. The terrain isn't a viable environment for these plants. They will wither after 24 hours. Very cool, very flavorful. Keep it. Don't change a goddamn thing.
I didn't even give it difficult terrain when they exploded, but whatever. I think we were also already 4 or 5 hours in at that point.
Yeah, and we were jam-packed on the battlefield as well, so like it wouldn't have mattered.
Oh yeah, it would have been difficult terrain for everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, we were walking 5 feet to the next Leshy. Like it wasn't like difficult terrain was going to impact the combat at all. Which now that I say that, the speed is 25 feet. Something we don't see very often is the lower or less than 30 feet.
It's actually 25 is the standard for Pathfinder, so 30 feet.
All right, so yeah, I was going to keep it at 30 feet. That's just fine. So did we miss anything? We didn't go over the saves, but I feel like
we did kind of talk about the saves. We said Dex Con proficiency and then leave it there.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. So that brings us to the melee attack. Fist. All right, sure. We'll call it fist. Why not?
Fist is their blanket term for unarmed attack. That is actually one thing that Paizo has clarified is when they say fist, they just mean unarmed attack. Fist is less characters.
I think that's recently been turned into rend. So in D&D. So
it is hit with some portion of your body.
Yeah. I attack with my ass.
I mean, if you can throw it. Anyway.
The plus 10 to hit feels a little bit better than average, which would translate to be like a plus 5, plus 6. And then it's a 1d6 plus 4 bludgeoning. Honestly, we could keep it at that. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm chill with that.
It would honestly probably be like a plus 2, like a 1d6 plus 2, but I don't think it matters that much. Primal innate spells, which just means it has a DC. So spell casting DC, spell save DC in D&D would be it says 16 here, probably 14.
You were doing a lot of math for a single spell of speak with plants.
Oh, it doesn't. There's no other spells listed anywhere?
No.
Boo. Okay.
Boo. Literally just scratch it out. I don't care.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Change shape. Transforms into a small plant. Sorry?
We spent a lot of time looking at gargoyles for them to have this as an ability.
Right. Yeah, transforms into a small plant. The ability otherwise uses the effects and tree shape. So you're just going to get this as false appearance. That's all it's going to be in D&D. All right, variant Leshies. Here's where the fun comes in. Each of these 4 Leshies has a unique set of abilities that add to or modify the statistics presented above. The first one is should we go in order, or do you want to do it like your favorite first?
So starting first is actually my favorite because I feel like it has the coolest extra ability.
So let's jump into it. It's the Golden Bamboo Leshy. So the first thing it can do is called Bend Back. The Golden Bamboo Leshy uses an action to bend itself back, ready to whip forward, increasing its reach with its fist to 10 feet. After the Golden Bamboo Leshy strikes with its fist, it's no longer bent back. And then Coiled Opportunity. As attack of opportunity, but the Golden Bamboo Leshy can use its reaction only if it's bent back. So, am I to believe that when it bends back and goes to swing and it misses, it is still considered bent back?
No, it says after the golden bamboo leshy strikes with its fist, it's no longer bent back. It just says strikes, which is attacks. It doesn't say if it hits or not. It just says if it attacks.
That's what I was wondering, because if it would be very specific in the D&D stat block. We don't have the word strikes capitalized here, and I'm like, that looks like it means a thing, right? So
Yes, because the action is strike.
gotcha. Okay.
Kind of like how you have magic actions and stuff now. The actual action is strike.
So with the exception of the flavor, this just adds 5 feet of reach to the.
Yeah, they just get 10-foot reach. And they get attack of opportunity, which is something that nobody has in Pathfinder. Like, the barbarian can get it starting at level 6. The fighter's the only one that gets it at level 1.
Really?
Yes.
All right. How are we going to replicate that? I would.
I was just going to say bonus action to bend back, and then action to hit at 10 feet.
I don't even think we need to do that. I mean,
That's fair. I don't think we do either.
its only attack is with fist, right? So like, just give it 10-foot range or 10-foot reach, and then call that a day. But for the opportunity attack, to replicate that, I would have that it has an extra attack of opportunity.
Heck
So
yeah.
that,
Yeah, I'm down with that.
yeah, it gets two, or it has 2 reactions.
Sounds good to me.
The next one is do you want to say this out loud? Mincaean?
Yeah, the honeysuckle leshy.
All right, yeah, we're just gonna give up on that. All right. Resistances physical 3. So
Yes.
is
So
that
let's
damage
say,
reduction?
yes, that is every single instance of physical damage that you deal to it, it does 3 less, it takes 3 less damage.
Interesting.
Yeah, so let's just say you hit it 3 times doing 5, you roll your damage and do 5, 7, and 6. It's only going to take 2, 4, and 3. But then if
And
you do
then-
one big hit that does 14, it's taking 11.
And then it also has agile Leshy, which means the honeysuckle Leshy gains a +1 status bonus to reflex and fortitude saves and DCs against trip and forced movement. All right, so
I'll give it the +1 of the saves against tripped and forced movement, whatever it is that it needs to roll.
forced movement isn't really a thing. Like, it's not a phrase or something you run into very often. You can
can't
grapple
push
someone
them?
and move them against their will. That is absolutely a thing. You can push or shove, but I would just have has advantage against being has advantage on any DC against being tripped or being pushed.
What was the action that I remember being in the Discord like a month or so ago when I was like, wait, you guys don't have that? And I think it was disarm, correct?
Yeah, we don't have disarm.
Got it. Because at first I thought it was trip that you didn't have, but you do have trip. It's disarm, which is handy because now I have mechanics for ripping the staff out of the wizard's hand as the barbarian.
Yes, that's fun. Honestly, what do you call this? Okay, so resistance physical 3. Let's start there because this is mind baffling. Damage reduction 2. People are gonna be like, "What the fuck is damage reduction?" But there are rules for it elsewhere in Dungeons and Dragons, so like it does exist. It might have to have a little like box off to the side explaining what it does, but yeah, damage reduction 2.
Do we have like resistance to non-magical weapons that we'd want to do for this? Because that's kind of the same thing. Is
Yeah,
that like a template we could apply, or is that just going to make it way too strong?
resistance?
Because I know there's immunity to non-magical weapons.
Yeah, I think that makes it pretty strong. I would rather just do the damage reduction 2.
Okay, so it just takes 2 less damage every time, every instance of damage.
Yeah. And we flattened that from 3 to 2 because bounded accuracy.
Yeah.
The honeysuckle Leshy gains +1 status bonus to reflex and fortitude saves. I would just have Dex and
Advantage
Con
against
saves
it.
get a +1, right?
Or advantage against those rolls.
Again, advantage is like a +3 or +4.
Oh,
right?
yeah, we don't want that.
No, it's just a little bit too high. So
You know who I would give advantage on that?
what?
To our big boy Mint Leshy.
All right, hold on. We'll get there. DCs against trip and forced movements. The way that I would do this is I would just have has advantage on grapple or shove. That's kind of how we have it. That's how you get tripped, right? Are those 2 mechanics?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And
Because the point
because
is it's harder to move around.
Yeah, right. That's kind of what we're looking at. So I might even give it the like immune to the prone condition.
Fair, yeah.
just to get that vibe. Again, I don't think any of these guys are lasting like 3 or 4 rounds. And if they do, this is
One
not
of
going
them
to.
will.
Sorry,
One of them will.
one of them will. Yeah, absolutely. They get healed up, but this is not going to be game breaking. It's not like there's a ledge or a fire pit or anything nearby. This guy is grappling, then they're grappling. The end. Like that's all it is. For Mint Leshy, this one is a bigger Leshy. It's medium size and inflicts 1d8 plus 4 bludgeoning damage with their fist strike, as opposed to 1d6 plus 4. I just keep that the way it is. Engulf, DC 18, 1d6 bludgeoning plus 1d6 poison. Escape DC 18. What is Rupture 6?
So it's this fun thing when you're trying to engulf slash swallow whole. I think you kind of get where I'm going with it, considering it's called rupture.
So they can just break free if they do 6 damage?
I don't know exactly what rupture is going to be. I'm pulling up swallow whole. I just got to dinosaur book in my game, which has a lot of swallow whole. So
Gotcha.
I'm going to need to know this.
Yeah, there's a common mechanic. If you get swallowed, if you do, X amount of damage, then you get thrown up and you land in an adjacent square prone.
I can't find it actually. And that wasn't really even a thing that I had used on you guys anyway.
Oh, the confusing part of Rupture is here. A swallowed creature can attack the monster that has swallowed it, but only with unarmed attacks or with weapons of light bulk or less. Swallowing creatures off guard against an attack if the monster takes piercing or slashing damage equal to or exceeding the listed Rupture value
There it is.
from a single attack or spell, the swallowed creature cuts itself free. Interesting. Interesting that it listed spells when it specifically said that it had to be like a light weapon or an unarmed attack.
Well, that's when you're inside. So that's what it says if you are engulfed. But then
Yeah.
it says if the monster takes piercing or slashing damage
Oh,
equal to or exceeding.
oh,
So if you get swallowed, I can still swing my axe and rupture you out.
that's wild. That doesn't work in D&D. In D&D, it's the creature inside has to do the damage.
I mean, I don't know what kind of surgical precision I'm getting to rupture it so you get out without chopping you too, but we're not asking questions. This is a fantasy game.
Yeah, there we go. We're all Legolas when it comes to cutting our friends free.
Exactly.
DC 18 is a bit nuts.
I almost just like this guy to be because I don't know, something about that just seems like to be a little bit too much. I just like him being bigger and he does more damage.
Yeah. When it comes to the engulf, it would almost be like round 1 grapple. Round 2, on the next round, a grappled creature, you can use your action to on a grappled creature engulf it. So I would almost punish the action economy more than trying to save against a DC, right? You're going to get that fight with the grapple in round 1, right? If in round 2 the creature's not freed itself with an escape check, which takes a full action. So again, we're punishing the action economy. Then they automatically get swallowed. And then the 1d6 poison and 1d6 bludgeoning feels about right. It would probably be acid in most creatures because stomach acid, but it's a plant. So we're talking poison and venom, right?
He's mint, so
Yeah. So 1d6 poison makes sense. The escape DC is the same as the engulf DC is. So there'd probably be well, we want to see it work. So DC 15. So there's a decent chance that like the rogue archetype will get away from it. Yeah, that feels right to me. How do you feel about that?
yeah, I'm fine. It's not an action that I really care to use. Because I just want him to be big and hit harder.
And also the Rupture 16 I get rid of, and I would just have it be, if the creature that has been swallowed does X amount of damage, they will get released. And I would have that, and that's just a standard, disclaimer
Yeah.
on a lot of the swallow mechanic stuff. But I would have it be a higher number actually, because 6 is easy to get, and there's no point in getting swallowed up if you're just going to cut your way free the next round. So I might make it do 10 points of damage at,
Yeah, that's fair.
3rd level. That might keep you trapped for another round. So, and then that brings us to the Wisteria Leshy. Tangled Fists. The Wisteria Leshy's first strike gains the grab ability. I love this. I wish more creatures had this.
Yep, that essentially means if they hit you, then they can just spend an action to grab you.
Yep, you done be grappled.
Yep. And then they can constrict.
Yeah, and then it constrict on like the next round, right?
Yeah. I mean, really how go is with the 3 actions it could hit for one and then grab for the next, automatic grab for the next, and then constrict at the end. So maybe I'll have it do it can if you're grabbed it can constrict you for a D4 as a bonus action with a save.
Yeah, and I feel like the grab and constrict, it's equal to what we said for the engulf for the mint leshy, right?
Yeah.
So I would keep it at the same level.
Okay. Yeah. I'd probably yeah. I'm happy with any of it. I was just trying to figure out if I wanted it to be a full bonus action because that means it can constrict and still attack on its turn if you didn't get out. But I guess that's just the risk you run. Don't be grabbed.
Right. Do you want to move on to our grazing deer? Let's move on to the hazards.
Heck yeah. The deer who fucks up half my party and then gets fucked up by the other half.
So what's interesting here is that it's not a stat block,
No.
although it very much reads like part of a stat block.
Yes.
We don't have anything like this in D&D. This is wild.
Hazards include traps.
Yeah, but we would just have a fucking deer. Here's your stat block.
That is actually fair.
There's so much in here that is just like Pathfinder mechanic. Like stealth 20. Is the stealth 20 just like you? Is that the essentially DC you need to get in a
To
perception
notice
check?
that it's going to be a hungry deer that's going to want to try to eat you would be then, yeah, you'd have to do, because then its stealth DC would be 30 because it's 10 plus its modifier, which is what you'd be rolling your perception against its stealth DC.
I would just give this a high stealth.
Yeah.
And like, hold on, let me actually bring up the deer.
So the thing that differentiates it as a hazard versus a stat block is hazards have a way other than beating the shit out of it to make it go away.
Oh,
So this deer has as a hazard it has disable. So you can do a diplomacy check with wild empathy, which of the four characters, who do you think would have wild empathy?
yeah, right. So
Oh
when
wait, that was you.
when the druid had, and let me tell you, I was going to kill this thing. It was not going to get
You
any
were
sort
about
of
to have a
empathy.
deer pelt.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you want to put in a rule, but DC for animal friendship, which is our
Yeah. I mean,
skill.
like this is in the stat block the things that you as a DM for D&D have to come up with. If your player is a druid and said, "I want to convince the deer that we're not food." Well, I have that's written out for me. Or if the barbarian said, "I'm going to look scary and not like a good meal." I have an intimidation DC for them.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. But these are things that it's so strange because I'm looking at the deer stat block in fifth edition, and this is fucking wild. So the deer in Pathfinder second edition, is this second edition?
Yes, this is second edition.
Yeah. Has a AC of 19 and 44 hit points.
It does
In
say
fifth
it's a herd
edition,
of deer.
in fifth edition, there's an AC of 13 and 4 hit points.
Listen, remember the respect rating goes up when there's a horde of them.
That's true. How many is in this?
It just says a herd of deer.
Just a herd. You always just gave us one.
Yeah, I always did it as just one, but it is a herd of deers. Herd of deers. I English well.
You know what? Can we just put multiple deer on the playing field and call it a day?
Sure. Just make sure that your players have options to tell them that we fish are friends, not food, or I'm not a good meal.
I love that the melee attack is called nibble.
Yep, nibble.
It's just ram. There's not even a bite one in 5.5.
Well, you see, because these aren't just deer, they're grazing deer.
Also, I acknowledge the fact that this is supposed to be a herd of medium-sized creatures, and we were a bunch of small leshies, right?
Yes.
God, how would you do this? Just like a stat block for a herd of deer is wild because think of the footprint on the battle map. If the grazing deer can take this much damage, they aren't killed, but they do flee into the woods and don't return. There you go.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to give you your deer pelt, Adam.
Trigger. The PCs emerge from the forest's edge. Effect. A deer approaches the party and attempts to nibble strike against a randomly determined PC. The grazing deer rolls initiative. That is a significant amount of damage to fucking kill someone. 2d4 plus 5 bludgeoning damage. Man, this one is okay. So converting this, I'm trying to convert it into a stat block, right? As a trap, I think it works just well if you like break it all out and whatnot. But the fact that we're getting like reflex and will saves involved here, it just feels so antithetical to a trap, right? Like, oh, the deer can defend themselves. That's fucking weird.
So
Um,
because specifically we have simple hazards or complex hazards, which you can see it has the complex tag right under the word deer,
yeah,
which complex means you're going into encounter mode. Simple
yeah.
is it was a spring trap and it activated and now it's done.
A character who spends 3 actions on their turn to stride can avoid being nibbled. What's stride? Is that move twice?
Stride is move your movement speed because you have to spend actions to move. You do not get to move for nothing.
Right, but if you use all 3 actions on your turn to stride, you can avoid being nibbled.
Well, yeah, you moved 75 feet away. You moved 25 feet 3 times. So for this, if someone dashes, they're gone. They said, I
Mm-hmm.
want to get out of here, and the deer leave them alone. And they say, well, that food was fast. I don't feel like running.
Mm-hmm. All right. I would make this a skill challenge.
Reverse chase mechanics.
Yeah, or just tell me how you're going to get through this deer, and every time that you fail, whoever rolled is going to take that 2d4 plus 5 bludgeoning damage.
Yeah, that worked for me.
Right? Like there's so much going on here that I would just say you need to get across the clearing. If you go around, they will charge you. Right. And I would have like a
Well, and
mechanic.
actually, I'd let them go around, but then they're delayed because there is a becoming delayed. You don't have the PDF, do you?
No.
So here's literally, I will send this to you, and then let me send you literally what the whole page looks like because it's pretty funny.
I'm bringing it up now.
Um,
Becoming delayed.
you can
The
see that that's a sidebar right next to the grazing deer.
Yeah, delayed always has a value. Increase all the DCs and skill checks found in clues portion. Okay, yeah. You can go around if you want, but you will be delayed. I threaten my players with that shit, and it's always so vague because it's not like a solid mechanic in D&D. I was like, you can certainly take the time to do that if you would like to take the time,
If you
and
would
that
like
always
to
stops
spend
them.
your time doing that, you are welcome to. Because then
Yeah,
sometimes you get the players that are like, yeah, I will spend my time doing that. I'm not that girl. I'm going around the deer.
that's what it always breaks into an argument at the table. So that's one of my manipulations. But yeah, I would just have this be a skill challenge to get through them quickly, right? And you just need, what are there, 4? Everybody needs to succeed twice. Every time you fail, you take 2d4 plus 5 bludgeoning damage as a deer takes a chomp out of you.
I like it.
What an interesting like mechanic here with all the diplomacy, which would be persuasion or animal handling, I guess. Animal handling in this scenario.
Yeah, because I don't
Uh,
have animal handling. That's closest would be nature, but also diplomacy.
yeah, and then like intimidation, all the different saves that don't matter really, but the AC, the saves would matter if they decide to toss up a burning hands at them, right?
Yeah, which I do want to allow that to be like a how do you get through the deer? I cast burning hands, get the hell out of my flamethrower.
Yeah, and I love that. That would be like that's one of my rules too. Whenever I run a skill challenge, is anytime that they want to burn a spell slot to do a thing, you go right ahead and you succeed.
You go right ahead. Actually, if you want to use burning hands at the deer, that's all you have to do. But you are using a spell slot, and Darius is coming up next.
Yeah. It's all about resource management, right? This is a really cool little encounter, and I like that. But yeah, I would run it as a skill challenge to get through, or a penalty to like a time penalty to go around.
Yeah, so which actually kind of is how Pathfinder had it written out.
Yeah, it's just very interesting to see it written out in such a distinct way. So, then the last thing that you wanted to go over was converting bad vibrations, which is another hazard 3, and this is
Bad vibes, that's not what we have here. We only have good vibes.
This is the 3 large crystals on the table that begin to vibrate and emit a swiftly glowing peal of sound. First of all, I do enjoy seeing the word peal in this context. That makes me happy. I like a good vocabulary. Second of
I'm a
all,
numbers guy.
second of all, there's again rules to disable it, which is all would like I like that. That's good. It's got defensive things, including hardness, which is essentially you can't do damage unless you're doing more than whatever the hardness number is, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
So the first 10 damage is ignored. And then they have 16 HP each, and then they're broken at 8. That's what BT, broken threshold.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they're not just like destroyed, but
They can't do the
you
thing.
scratched and chipped them. So they are not nice and new. These crystals have been broken.
They've got a weakness to sonic damage, which is our thunder.
Yes.
Um, No, this is really neat. So, okay, so I'm sorry for the listeners. A creature other than Darius or one of his homunculi approaches within 5 feet of the table where these three large crystals are, or attempts to interact with the crystals in any way other than to attempt to disable the hazard. The three crystals on the table begin vibrating and humming, and this rolls
So,
initiative.
functionally, how this works is you go downstairs and you are in a room with three big crystals on a cabinet, and every single player goes, free loot!
Yeah.
And then it blows up in their face.
The target takes 1d8 sonic damage, and they're deafened for 1 minute. At the end of the hazard's routine, attempt a DC 10 flat check. On a success, one of the crystals shatters and is destroyed. This also is a perfect alarm for Darius.
Yes, because they make noise. So that's when if you trigger it, he knows he has his mutagen in, he has his action ready to hot wax the second that door opens.
If I can be honest, we have a creature that will provide a similar function. Let me just pull it up. It's under fungus. Oh,
Fungus.
yeah, it's called a shrieker fungus.
Love it.
If exposed to light or otherwise disturbed, mushroom-like shriekers emit a high-pitched noise that gives them their name. This wailing might alert other creatures or attract predators. It's a reaction. So, like, the trigger is a creature or a source of bright light moves within 30 feet of the shrieker. The response, they make this audible shriek that's 300 feet radius for 1 minute or until the shrieker dies. There's no attack. This is it, right? But it's a creature, so you can kill them, which is amazing. Their initiative is -5. But the really fun thing here is that we can add this thunder damage. It would be in D&D instead of sonic damage. But you see, there's no save here.
DC
Right.
20 basic fortitude save.
Yes, for yours, but there's no save on the Shrieker is what I meant. So, like, if we were
yeah.
to,
Well,
if
that's
we
because
were
it
to,
doesn't do damage.
yeah, right. And so I would like to take this sonic damage with the DC 20 fort save and turn that into at this level, we're going to go fight Darius and the homunculi in a minute. 1d6 thunder damage with a DC.
Well, and the balance of this room is meant to be a trivial level encounter because
Yeah.
it does say that for all of these. It is meant to be trivial. So it's meant to be more of the alarm system and to punish kleptomaniacs that want to take free loot and maybe take out a couple of hit points right before the Darius fight.
Yeah. So, like, 1d6, I'm thinking DC like 14 to not get deafened.
Heck yeah. Is it DC the 14 for the thunder damage as well? Save on half?
Yes. So it's a DC 14 to save. You have the critic. If you critically fail, then the save is you're deafened for 1 minute. Let's say DC 14. If you fail by 5 or more, you're deafened for
Okay.
1 minute.
Cool. Love it.
We don't
Yes,
have to
because
get.
a basic save does mean save for half.
Yeah. Okay.
These are just the things that you have to learn and remember DMing for Pathfinder is if it's a basic save, it's a save for half.
There's so many more like shorthand phrases and like keywords and key phrases in Pathfinder that like it is learning obviously a whole new system, but there's a lot more to remember.
But then they keep it consistent.
But yes, but then
They establish these things and then they use them and keep them consistent, and they don't randomly start calling these normal fortitude saves. They're always basic.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah. So
If
all
they're
right.
basic saves, do they drink pumpkin spice lattes?
Let me get me started. I got me ache in town right now, and you think I'm going to Starbucks every fucking day?
Yes, I think you do. And I think you do because you love your wife.
That is 100% it. And I actually, before we hit record, I'm like, as soon as we're done, why don't you and I get in the car and I'll take you through Starbucks before we go to Spirit Halloween? She's very, very happy. But I still loathe the pumpkin spice latte. And every time she says, "Are you going to get something?" and I just glare at her. We have a routine, so it's working. It's working nicely. She cackles, by the way, when I glare at her. So
she would.
Yeah, it's all well and good. But okay, so we did Darius, we did the homunculi, which I think we actually beefed up and made scarier.
I think we did because that actually was supposed to be just a moderate encounter, and you said no. But also, Pathfinder rules, you're only supposed to heal your level times your con mod on a long rest.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a long rest gives you your level times your con mod of HP back.
Oof.
You do not get full heal. You do get all your spell slots back, but it is not a full heal.
Maybe that's why I'm a little bit more bloodthirsty when it comes to these.
Yes. So, and with my home game, I started off saying, no, we're gonna do the D&D rules where it's a full heal and everything. But then you get into the like, oh, in the span of 1 month, you have done enough to be level 1 to level 20.
Yeah, that's a bit wild.
Not this. After that Darius fight, especially how we beefed it up, you're gonna need like 3 days to recover.
Yeah, I feel like we've made this a little bit deadlier. The whole thing. I would say you said it was for like a third level party. I would say that they can level to level 4 after the Darius fight.
Okay. And then we'd probably have to beef up our lashes. Would we have to beef up our lashes a little bit?
Yeah, I'd give them max hit points because they're the only combat encounter after this, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I'd beef up. I'd give them significantly more hit points just because they're going to last longer, and that means more damage. But it is a cute little one shot, right? So we're not aiming for blood, right? We're aiming for adventure and fun. So if this
We're aiming
was
for being the big heroes to save the little lavenders.
exactly, and if I can be honest, if it was in like in a module halfway through the actual published adventure, you run into this little thing, yeah, I'd make it deadlier. So
Oh, absolutely, you would. But also, you would have had like half a campaign worth of built up loot.
yes, exactly. And that's kind of the trade-off as well, right? There you'd have three NPC hirelings with you, and someone's got a +2 whatever, even though you're level fucking 3.
Someone's carrying Mieka's bag of gold.
Don't even get me started, man. I had to give up and give her a bag of holding. Like fuck sakes.
Oh, I since my players are circus performers, I gave them a top hat of holding.
Love that. That is beautiful. That's
Might as well, right?
yeah, that's fun. I also would consider like a jacket with tails, but like there are hidden pockets inside the sleeve, so you can do the. There's nothing up my sleeve, but you just
Actually,
swallow.
a sleeve of holding is an actual item in Pathfinder.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it is actually an item that they have in the game where it is you can get a bag of holding in your sleeves.
That's fucking great. I
It's
love
like
it.
higher level than like a regular bag of holding because it's a lot more inconspicuous because it's in the sleeves of your robe or whatever instead of a bag that you're very visibly carrying.
I think that's amazing.
But yeah, no, so I gave them a top hat of holding because, I mean, come on, it's the circus.
Which one of them wears it?
Um, isn't that the dangerous part about wearing a top hat of holding? Actually, I think I just recently gave it to them, and unfortunately, due to the time of year and how busy I am, I did have to put that game on pause.
Oh,
I made that decision literally last week.
how long are you on
No,
pause
this
for?
week. Through the end of the year, which for context is 2.5 months.
Yeah, I'm we're on hiatus right now for a month because Mieka's in town and we've just filled it up with Casey's birthday party, Megan's birthday party, Dan's birthday party, and a Halloween party. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm not doing any more social shit.
You're like, I actually would like to have unsocial shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I turned to Mieka and I said, can we please just sit on the couch and watch a fucking sitcom? I need to just not. So
Is
and
it
I'm
time
an
for that?
extrovert.
Is it time for with Mieka in town to do the annual Over the Garden Wall watch?
I pitched that to her and she said, we have so many movies to watch. We just watched okay, so the episode's over, but I'm gonna just babble anyway.
Okay, well, just right here is where it just like fades to black slowly, and then they won't know what else we talked about.
That'll annoy them. We just watched Together and Weapons, like almost like on 2 consecutive days.
Oh, I
Mieka was
know
having,
Joe recently watched Weapons.
I thought it was great. I saw it a couple times in theaters. I had a good time with Weapons. I liked Together as well. Mieka thought Weapons was far more entertaining. And it's funny. She saw the Weapons trailer and was scared of it and didn't want to watch it. And I had to do a lot of convincing to get her to watch it. And then she loved it. And then she was interested in watching Together, and I'd already seen it. And by the time that she saw it, but by the time that we were done, she was like, "That was disgusting. I never need to see that again. That was trifling and gross." I'm like,
I don't like those scary movies, and Joe has been into scary movies. Joe has always been into scary movies, first of all, but his recent kick that he's been doing has been the very gory ones. So I will be here in the game room like I am right now, and he will be watching a movie, and I will have my headphones on, and I will be playing a game, and then I will not be watching.
All right, I gotta ask before we wrap the episode up. I have to ask, what is the most like horrifying, traumatic, scary movie that you've seen?
I don't watch a lot of scary movies. When I was the one that horrible traumatized me the most I was a little too young and watched, oh gosh, Gremlins. And you know how every kid has whatever version of the monsters in the dark that you have to hurry up and jump into bed, otherwise they'll get you. It was
Yeah.
always the Gremlins for me.
So Gremlins is one of my all-time favorite movies. Like, absolutely love Gremlins. Gremlins 2 is a fucking gem. However, we had the like what was it? It was like a picture book of for Gremlins that kind of walked you through the basic plot over like 25 pages, but it had like real blown up stills from the movie with like, close-ups of the monsters, the Gremlins themselves and shit. And I loved Gizmo. But we got this book before I'd seen the movie, and it sat in the corner of the fucking living room. And there were some days I remember being younger and just being like, okay, the book has to get, tossed in a cupboard in the kitchen. I can't be in this room knowing that those pictures are in there. They're terrifying.
Yup. Yeah, because I saw it and I was at the absolute most 10 years old.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I was a little bit younger than that when I got introduced to the book. I watched the movie when I was like 12 and loved it. So
Nope, I was a little young and I didn't like it. Recently, the only horror movie that I have watched beginning to end was when I went and saw Scream 6 in theaters with Joe and his brothers and their mom.
you didn't even see the first five?
No, but have you seen the sixth one?
Yeah, I've seen all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, Kirby explains it all. It's fine. I get the point.
But it was a fun, wild ride. The first one is the classic. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about horror movies for the rest of the episode. What I'm going to ask, though, is do you have any final thoughts about these conversions before we wrap up?
No, I truly do think that the spitball vibes is the way to do it, and just hope that it isn't too much, and it might take, running it 3 times until I decide this is what actually is good and this is what maybe where we were off, but this is this is a place to start. So now I guess that we're done with it. I can run it on the Patreon in D&D for all of those people who said that sounds like fun, but I don't want to learn a new system.
Yeah, although I would honestly level them up halfway through.
That's fair.
They're going to be pretty squishy. So I guess my final thought is just a little warning. Whenever you're doing conversions or homebrewing, everyone needs to remember that we tend to want it to be awesome and be a big, like every monster is scary and powerful. That's not always the case. We do need to let the good guys win. And so our 9 homunculi plus Darius at face value seems fine. The action economy is going to hit a death spiral relatively quickly on this.
It will spiral.
Yeah, and with the consistent poison effect that's going to be in play for the first handful of rounds, that is going to make the players feel very fucking useless. So maybe the aura should pop off as an action instead of something that's on all of the time. So
yeah,
that's
I also
sometimes
think that the just the burning and the restrained that the homunculi do is enough.
yeah. They don't need to do a full bite, right? Like I think
Yeah,
it's cool
I
that they
mean,
can if they want, but
well, and the bite we made the bite come with a burning too.
yeah,
But I think the being able to apply that persistent damage in a system that doesn't tend to have persistent damage, and then also giving them disadvantage on everything might be a little overkill with 9 of them. So
well,
I do think it might be one or the other.
the way to put out, fire and whatnot, if you're on fire in D&D, is to take an action to put it out. Hard stop. There's not even a roll for it. You just do it, but it burns part of your action economy. So, like, I feel as if the homunculi, it's how you play the homunculi. If they're all scared and they're running to the other side of the room and they're throwing the wax, that's annoying and it's chipping away one fire damage at a time, at the players, then fine. When you go over to deal with them, they start biting and doing more damage. The aura is popping off, and now you're poisoned. Oh, fuck, this is a problem. I'm going to retreat back. Let's fight Darius first, right?
Yeah,
And would you have it if you kill Darius, all the homunculi die?
absolutely. If you
Yeah,
incapacitate him, they're all incapacitated. They're all psychically linked.
perfect.
Or if you knock him out, they are too concerned with him to fight, and you can literally just step on them and squish them as they're like around him, going, "No, are you okay?"
I really desperately want one as a pet.
A candle homunculus.
Yeah.
All right. What scent would your candle homunculus be?
When I buy scented candles, I tend to stick to like citrus ish, unless I'm doing like a holiday candle.
See, and that's what I was thinking was lemon, but then also like I'm a baker, so maybe it would smell like fresh baked chocolate chip cookies. But then I'd really hate it if it just smelled like that all the time.
Well, Dave's character, he's playing a fairy in our game, and the fairy that he chose smells like brownies. And you would not believe that comes up 3 times a fucking session.
Of course it does. It's an important factor. You know what else came up 600 times? Because not only are you just trying to save your little leshies, but apparently you're trying to spread your MLM. So
Anyway, is there any personal social media projects, anything else that you'd like to shout out before we wrap up?
no, not much. I mean, same old, same old. I have some awesome players, and then they're dealing with me pausing my game as I'm going to school, and I'm trying to get married. So,
Well, good luck on all of the above.
well, thank you.
And I guess that's all for this discussion on converting Pathfinder 2 stat blocks. Thanks, Scott, for choosing this topic, for workshopping your homebrew, for supporting the Patreon. For anyone else, if you'd like to become a Platinum Greatwyrm tier patron and record an episode of your choice with me or another host, please head over to the It's a Mimic Patreon, where you can explore the options there for a ton of bonus content, access to our Discord server. There's lots of stuff there. So, and thank you again.
Honestly, like you're missing out if you're not there. Like that Discord server it's fire. I like it.
Which reminds me, I've got to hop on and do the next Monster Manual Arena fight.
Hell yeah. All right, I get to weigh in on what monsters would win in a fight.
And yeah, so thanks for listening to another episode of It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get.
Bye-bye.
That's all for this Platinum Greatwyrm episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. This episode and others can also be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and most other podcast apps. Please take a second to engage with a like, follow, subscribe, comment, or review to help push our engagement. Thanks for listening to It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get. If you'd like to support us, we have a store with some merch and a donate button on our website, itsamimic.com. You can also head to itsamimic.com to find a comprehensive episode guide and more information about the show. We do have a Patreon, which not only offers access to our exclusive Discord server, but also hosts over 100 episodes, including a variety of bonus episodes covering topics like 5th edition book reviews and the campaign builder, spells and gods, fae, homebrew inspiration, and even the Blood War. If you'd like to submit any mailbag questions, please reach out to us through any of the social media links in the show notes of this episode, or send us an email at info@itsamimic.com. This has been an episode of It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get.